As you may or may not know, Trump and his new administration has come out swinging. Just 2 days into his second non-consecutive term in office, he is already working to dismantle and reshape D.C., the nation, and international affairs. While many of his executive orders so far are focused on addressing societal and international issues, he also plans to tackle housing issues right here in the U.S. Welcome to MPRE Boise, powered by NextHome Treasure Valley. My name is Mike Petras with MPRE Boise, and in this video, we are going to discuss the housing agenda Trump and his administration are putting forth to tackle the current housing situations here in the U.S. But before we do, if you would like to begin your home search in more real time than websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia, please visit www.mpre.homes and sign up for your personalized home search today. If you are looking to sell and want an idea of what your home is worth in today's market, also visit my website, click on the Home Evaluation tab in the upper right-hand corner, and obtain it. You most likely will hear from me, but again, I pride myself on being a non-pressure real estate agent. If at all, I would simply like to introduce myself in the phone call and let you know how I can be of service when you're ready. So, what is Trump's plan for housing? Well, the answer lies in Agenda 47. The first of 5 promises he's making is to increase the total number of homes. As this graph shows, housing inventory is nowhere near meeting the demand of potential buyers. This comment, of course, excludes the current effects of the mortgage interest rates, as if they didn't exist. I mean, who doesn't want to own a home, right? And how is housing valued again? Well, that's right, by supply and demand. When the supply is low and demand is high, prices go up. This was especially the case brought on by the pandemic. Nationally, and given the current inventory levels, prices could remain high. So, Trump wants to build, baby, build. Yeah, those are my words, not his. The more housing that becomes available, the more likely prices will stabilize or even decrease. The second issue on his list is regulatory costs. Do you know that regulatory requirements alone account for approximately 25% of the cost of constructing a home? Well, that's a lot. These costs are incurred by the builder along with the contractor expenditures, materials, etc. to build the home. So to put this in perspective, if a home costs $400,000, $100,000 of that goes directly to the government in the form of impact fees, which cover city and county roads, schools, and more. Now I know what you're thinking, but just hang on a minute. This is still an ouch. Well, but why? It's because, do we really know what our local and county governments are charging? Are the impact fees high? Are the fees associated with the building regulations also high? So in essence, is there fat to be trimmed off the local government? And also, will the city or county even go along with Trump's plans? We will just have to wait and see. The real question is, though, in my mind, is will the builders pass on those savings to the buyers? If they don't, will the government step in and squeeze housing corporations that don't comply? Again, only time will tell. Third, Trump aims to address unaffordability, not only in housing, but across all living expenses. He's already declared a national economic emergency. Over the past 4 years, housing prices have increased by 25%, while income has only risen by approximately 2%. That's a significant gap. Thanks, Joe.
Come on, man.
Housing costs are far outpacing wage growth. How Trump plans to address this is still up for some debate, but American independent energy is a major part of the solution. We will cover this more in just a second. Number 4 is slashing mortgage interest rates. Now, this is something that Trump doesn't have direct control over. His policies, however, could influence it. For example, if American energy independence was restored, fair tariffs were implemented, government spending reduced, and global conflicts ended, mortgage rates could drop. But how is this? Well, first, if American independent energy returns, this will place more money in the pocketbooks of Americans and businesses alike. Those businesses that were likely to lay off because of logistic costs may now change their minds. If fair tariffs came along, it would also have the same effects, or at least some of them. Tariffs would eventually lower taxes on businesses and individuals alike. Our country was founded on tariffs before the 16th Amendment, remember? Government-reduced spending would also have tremendous effect. The excess printing of money created by the government out of thin air is probably the most destructive. This floods our money around the world and lowers the value of the US dollar. Should other countries find their way off the US dollar, those dollars will return home, resulting in hyperinflation. However, the flip side of that coin is US surging its inflation to other countries in the form of US dollars, and it attempts to solidify our stance as a world reserve currency. The more dollars in central banks around the world, the more they will rely on them for trade, hence the global dominance. But again, the latter could happen if they find alternative currency sources and international trading systems. Regardless, reckless government spending is not good for American society in the end, and it's not good for inflation. Remember, the definition of inflation in itself is too many dollars available to buy up too little products. When the pandemic hit, this was exactly what occurred, and it was in the form of the stimulus checks, $5 trillion worth to be exact. As the government then shut down businesses, this skyrocketed inflation. One source of this money printing and dumps is occurring in the wars fought by proxy around the world. If the wars in the Ukraine and Israel can be stopped, then this should help out inflation right here at home. All of this would ultimately lower the federal funds rate, if it can happen, while trickling into lower mortgage interest rates. All of these policy changes can lower inflation while keeping employment afloat. And right now, the markets and the Fed are in a tug of war over inflation and employment. In summary, though, if Trump can lower taxes through fair tariffs and help companies save on energy costs, unemployment and inflation could become a thing of the past. The last piece of the agenda Trump wants to help is first-time home buyers. But his plan here is still a bit vague. Is he talking about a first-time home buyer's credit, grants, down payment assistance, or lower mortgage interest rates for first-time buyers? We'll just have to wait and see what he has in store. But hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I will keep you updated. Now let's go a little bit further, addressing some other things that can be done for housing. What about issues like the NAR settlement? Will Trump and Pam Bondi, once confirmed, stay silent on this? Or will there be government intervention? For those who aren't aware, the DOJ has been pressing the National Association of Realtors on antitrust issues, essentially arguing that 6% transaction commission rates were standard. However, all of us good realtors know that commissions have always been negotiable. So the Biden DOJ stepped in, thinking they can influence home prices, but that didn't happen as I predicted. And why? Because housing prices are determined by supply and demand. But what the DOJ's actions did accomplish was making it harder for existing home sellers to sell their property. In my opinion, this lack of transparency regarding any co-op offerings to a buyer's broker has pushed more buyers towards new construction, where home builders are more transparent about what they're willing to offer to buyer's brokers. This lack of transparency, in my opinion, is hurting the real estate market and will continue to do so until something changes. Now, these are just my humble observations, but it is clear that it's becoming a reality. So, out of all the 5 promises Trump has regarding his housing agenda, numbers 1 through 3 are within his direct control, with number 4 being influenced by his policies. Number 2 will affect number 1, and number 4 could help address number 3. Additionally, number 4 might also help businesses pass on savings to improve American wages and costs. But again, just like the builders that I mentioned earlier, will the savings be passed on to the American worker and consumer? If history has shown us anything, this is usually not the case, as businesses pocket the extra earnings resulted from lowered inflation. The question is, would Trump see this? And if so, how would he squeeze big business if they don't comply? We'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, are these ideas good? In my humble opinion, they're great. Let's build, baby, build, and let's slash regulations. But we'll again just have to wait and see how the results will end up being. But again, I remain hopeful. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. And of course, if you have any further questions or you are looking to buy, sell, or invest right here in the greater Boise, Idaho area, better known as the Treasure Valley, please feel free to reach out to me. Also, if you are looking to relocate in from out of state, please click in the description below and download my free relocation guide. Or you can just go ahead and scan the QR code right over here to my left. If you do want to stay in tune with these videos, please feel free to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you're constantly in tune with the videos that I do come up with. And before you go, if you do like this information, I do invite you to leave me a comment, especially if you disagree with it. And also, please give me a thumbs up. or feel free to share this information with somebody that you know. Again, knowledge is power. But again, thank you so much. I look forward to the day that we speak. God bless. And until the next video, I look forward to calling you my neighbor.